What's up, Instagram? We are back again for another session of Skoden Talks with Homies. So, gonna be waiting for our lovely guest to join. I'm gonna go ahead and do our little introduction. Welcome to Instagram's IP3 Skoden Talks with the Homies with your host, Sage Chanel. IP3 is an organization. IP3 is an organization that provides nonviolent direction action training, campaign strategy, and community organizing tools to support Indigenous communities taking action in defense of their homelands. For more information about IP3 or to send community training requests, you can visit the website ip3action.org or contact info@ip3action.org. All right, darlings. I'm excited. We're doing a Skoden Talks in the evening time. It's always so lovely. Send you an invite, so come on in the room. Hopefully everybody has had a lovely week. Spring break has started for the kids around here, so Auntie is gonna have all the kids, so I'm excited about that. Let me move my camera up a little. Well, hello, darling.
Hello. How you doing?
How are you?
Real full with a bologna sandwich of all things.
Hey, that is prize meat around here, especially if it's fried.
I didn't want to be downstairs, so it wasn't fried, but it's still good.
Well, welcome everyone. Before we start, if there's any guests, if y'all have any questions during any of the interview, if y'all want to ask, just put it in the comment box and we'll try to get them answered as quickly as possible. Before we get started, I just want to let everyone know that Mo was actually nominated to be a guest here. And I wanted to read something that was emailed to IP3. It says, Mo has been a pillar in the Two-Spirit LGBT community for years and doing wonderful work within that too. Getting to work with Mo has been one of the best things for my life and career. He has inspired me to meet with other unsheltered relatives free of expectations and with the kindest, most loving arms. I have never met anyone in my life that serves the people the way Mo does, and each day I hope to honor his work by constantly raising the standards of mine. I'm so incredibly lucky to be his friend as well. So whoever anonymously nominated you, they think highly of you, and I'm so excited to meet you and get to talk with you. So if you'd like to give us a little introduction and a little background, the floor is yours.
All right. So my name is Mo Mike. I'm Two-Spirit, transmasculine. I take hormones. I'm from Treaty 6 territory, which is in Saskatchewan, Canada, from Beardy's and Okemasis Cree Nation. I've been here in Minneapolis, where I currently live, for about 7 years now. I had left for 7 years and then I came back. Primarily because this is where I got my recovery from, and I needed my therapist. I got into just some domestic violence, and I was like, I don't want to be this person, so I came back and got my healing from that so that I could continue doing my work.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Skoden Talks with the Homies. It's so nice to talk to another Two-Spirit trans in our communities. I feel like here recently we've gotten more brothers and sisters to come out and be leaders, and I feel like it's our duty to be represented, and I'm so glad you are one of them. So.
Thank you. I'm just so surprised still about that, what you read about me earlier, because I still have no idea who it was.
Well, it must be a colleague, and you have touched their lives. So.
That's great.
Would you like to share about the people, places, and things that have influenced you as a person?
Sure. So, growing up on the res, it was hard. my res is in like Saskatchewan, like I said. Um, we were living in poverty, and yet I didn't really notice that. You notice it by the clothes that you have to wear, but not by the love that I had by food. By always, my mom always made sure we had food and stuff like that. Yet at the same time, like she really influenced my life by her own journey. Because her journey was she married my husband, my dad, and then he went off and got a job, never sent money home for us, and she was resilient. She had to find ways to feed us. She had to find ways to clothe us. But also, since I was the oldest, I got a lot of her anger and wrath at my dad. Um, and so that was a difficult thing for me. I learned to keep silent. I learned to be happy all the time because I wasn't allowed to have my emotions. And so, but that really influenced my life because when I was younger, I was sexually assaulted by my grandfather or by my cousin, and she found out about it. I went to the doctor, the RCMP, and everything, and charges were dropped against him. And so, for me as a 8-year-old, I was like, poof! I don't want to. I shut down. So it was easy to abuse me after. So I've had 13 perpetrators since then, um, till I was 24, and then I charged my grandfather for what he did to me, along with my sister and another relative. And so, like, that all influenced me, my grandfather included. Um, but it influenced me because I wanted to get better. I didn't want to be hurting. I didn't want to be using. I tried crystal meth for the first time, and it got me sober for 7 years, and from pot, and 10 years from alcohol. Where I didn't use it at all, and I learned how to cope. I went to therapy. I went to groups. I did all that. I was in I was in a residence for 2 years, learning how to change my life around. I knew how to work by then because my dad taught us how to work. So since I was 14, I was always working. But when I came to here, I didn't work for 2 years except on myself. So like all of those people, my dad, my mom, my sisters, they all really influenced me. And my dad molested my sister's best friend when I was younger. And so that also changed. Like I wanted a change in our life so my whole family, you know, addressed that issue. And so within my family, we addressed it. It doesn't mean that my brothers and my dad's brothers and sisters that they did. Some did, some didn't. We were kind of like ostracized, pushed away. But all of that influenced me. And I used to want to be a nurse, but I had PTSD and I didn't realize it. And so I dropped out. And I just did all kinds of different odd jobs. And then I ended up here. And harm reduction came in the way of HIV first. My uncle had come home with a diagnosis of AIDS in 1990. And in 1992, he passed away. And so when I started working over here, I had been his driver, him and my grandmother, and she would, say, welcome, welcome our people who have HIV home. They're still our brothers, they're still our uncles, our sons, our daughters. And so I drove them everywhere. I heard people's stories. And the one thing that the common denominator was, all of their stories was similar to mine. And the only difference between me and them was that I had unprotected sex, or I didn't inject, but I had unprotected sex with someone who didn't have HIV, whereas they had unprotected sex with someone with HIV for the most part. Some injected drugs and didn't know that the needle that they had shared with someone else had HIV. So back in that time, it was way harder to get syringes back then as it is now. So HIV, so that's how I ended up in harm reduction.
Yeah. Um, Was it hard growing up? Were you out as a trans man when you were younger, or was it hard being two-spirit growing up in your communities?
Um, it was hard for me because, so first of all, I grew up in a Catholic home. I got confirmed all of that, and then after my mom after I was abused by my father, my grandfather, not my grandfather, but my cousin, my mom became a Christian, and then she became a like a holy roller Christian. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy Swaggart, that kind. Anyways, and so like even that changed because like I was supposed to respect my elders well, and I didn't know how to speak out against that respect. Like I had no idea how to even accomplish that. But anyways, growing up, I always seen other people that I knew were like me, but we never talked about it.
Yeah.
And there was a young man that used to come on the bus, and I remember he had wore mm, what do you call that stuff you put on your face? Foundation, yeah,
Yeah.
foundation. And so I was really mesmerized by them. I'd always look at him when he's on the bus and stuff, and like, dang, like that guy isn't afraid. But I could see him a little bit shaky and stuff like that. But it's funny, like I didn't I didn't come out till I was 27, and the only reason I came out was that I went to treatment, and when I went to treatment, they open all your freaking doors that are inside your closets, and that was one of them. And so I started exploring that, and that's how I ended up here in Minneapolis because I came to my first Pride here in 2002, and I met someone that was from here and said, "Come check out Minneapolis." So I came, and I ended up loving it here and staying here. And because it's where I got my recovery, it's where I've always wanted to be ever since. Because the Native community, the sober community, and the GLBT community is huge here. You know, this is like one of the biggest places where there's a native presence within the city,
Yeah.
and so that's important to me.
When you finally came out, was there a lot of family that supported you and any all, or did y'all just finally like cut ties when you moved?
um Actually, they all support me, like everybody's supportive. And one of the things back in, I don't know what year was it, 2015, Humans of Minneapolis had just did a little blurb on me, and so I had shared that. And within 3 weeks on my res had the first Pride, like walk or whatever, Pride March, if you want. Um, because my cousin, he's also gay. He is on the council, and I do believe that that sparked that because I said how I wasn't able to come out at home,
Yeah.
and so now it's really like back home was a place where the first two-spirit powwow was held on a reservation, which was my res. So I thought that was pretty cool. I went to it. It was 2019. hmm
Um,
And I got to dance. I danced men's traditional. I've never wore a dress ever for that.
yeah.
I mean, I have worn a dress, obviously, but, growing up. But if I do ever decide to wear dresses because I want to,
Yeah.
nobody's forcing me. Nobody's like saying you can't. Nobody's saying you can. It's just me and my moods.
Yeah. And
So yeah.
it's it's so liberating, and it's so uh, just, I guess, just liberating to actually get to dance in the powwow circle and be your authentic self and get to dance what category you want to dance. Uh, like if you ever get the chance to go this San Fran, the Bates area Two Spirit powwow, go. It is definitely a nice powwow that I've got to be head dancer for, and um,
Oh,
it's
that's
lovely. Yeah.
awesome. I love it.
um, So you did talk a little bit about harm reduction. Could you share more about your work in harm reduction and what is harm reduction?
Okay, well, my work in harm reduction began at through my job at Indigenous Peoples Task Force where I used to work, but back in like 2005, 2006, they had a coordinator position that I just kind of rolled into because, the grant cycle would end and you'd roll into a new thing. So I did that. And there was a syringe exchange that I would go and um, give my time to for 4 hours a week. And as I was there, I got to watch the people that worked with the people who used drugs and to see how they made each individual feel like they were the only one in the room, to make them feel like they were valued. Like I really saw that when I was there. And I'm like, I want to be like you, I really want to be like you. And so I just started, with that. And then as time went on, well, I'll say what harm reduction. Harm reduction is just offering with no stigma and no expectations, something that can help another person who's using drugs, whether it be syringes, whether it be anything like medically assisted treatment. Um, you know, let's help you get a phone. Let's help you get something that'll help alleviate some strain in your life, basically. But there's also other, like harm reduction is a seatbelt, locks on our doors. Those are all harm reduction because they keep us safe, right? And that's what we're trying to do with syringes and stuff. Because if we're taking HIV and Hep C and we want to eradicate it, and people who are passing it to one another through drug use, well, we want to make sure that they have enough so that they can, because they're going to do it regardless, so that they don't get endocarditis, they don't get bloodborne pathogens, they don't get abscesses, they don't end up in the hospital and then try to leave because they're hurting, because they need another shot and they're not getting it at the hospital. They're not getting what they are required to help them at the hospital, like Suboxone, or like even offered comfort meds during that time, while they're trying to get the infection that they may have out of their body so that they can go out and, live their life however they choose to live again. And the thing I know about the people in the street, I always say, that could be me, that is me. That is me, I know it is because I know a lot of stories, and a lot of them are very similar to mine, and um, I don't have no judgment because that could be me, you know. So I made different choices so that I don't have to be out there, and it's hard. You like to use drugs, but like at the same time, I understand that for me, it'll pull me to that place where I don't have the comfort of having a home, having a place to sleep at night. And that's something that I value.
Yeah.
So that's how come I try to restrain myself in those situations. I do, smoke medical marijuana. I smoke uh, illegal marijuana. I do other drugs like psychedelics on occasion, and you know, a few other drugs now and again, but it's not something that I keep up here. You know, it's just something I do when I want to go out. But the difference between that is even like I have recovery. I know that there's a whole difference between recovery and sobriety,
Yeah.
and I'm happy in my recovery. But I was like when I was sober, I was white knuckling it all the time and stuff like that. But now I worked on those things that were inside of me that needed to be, you know, just shuffled around a bit so I could see that, oh, I need to fix this, or I need to mend that so that it doesn't bother me anymore. And a lot of things don't bother me like they used to, so I don't have those same triggers to go out and use anymore in the same way that I did before.
Yeah.
Um, Harm reduction is like also just meeting people right where they're at, and sometimes people don't understand that, like they say, oh, they're asking for money, they're asking for this. I'm like, if you don't have money, just give them a hug, give them a smile, say hello,
Yeah.
you know say, hey Nate, how you doing?
Yeah.
you know they'll respond, and if you have a little bit of change, then they take it, that's fine, and if you have any loved ones out there, like, and they say, hey, you got money for this, money for that, say, next time, bring some stuff out to them, like, anybody that's unsheltered always needs socks, underwear, might need a toothbrush sometimes, but there's so much things that we could do to just help them for a bit. Food, some kind of snacky food. People who use drugs often like lots of sweets, so carry some sweets around. You know, they're not going to hate you for giving them that. And when I talk about harm reduction, I also talk about how harm reduction is traditional. And the way that I came up with that was because I heard someone named, they were up in Canada. I can't remember their name anymore, but Sharp Doppler, and they put a presentation, harm reduction is traditional. And as I was sitting there in it, I was like, I do that too, and I'm like, oh. And then I came here. I hadn't worked in the field for a while. I came here. I got offered a job with the SSP. Well, meanwhile, during COVID, they had these opioid type of they had these meetings to help the people in the street who have opioid use disorder, or else substance use disorder is what they call it, for people who cannot just kick it on their own. But they were using stigmatizing language, like, oh, they're bringing criminality to the neighborhood. Oh, they are prostitutes. Like, they use those words, and and here I am sitting in this thing watching these people who claim to be, I've Sundance for how many years? I'm this degree a day, talking about our relatives in the street like they didn't matter. And so that's when I went looking for the values of the Anishinaabe, and it's love, honesty, truth, respect, courage, wisdom. There's always one I miss, and I can't remember what it is. But it's once you start using one of them and learning how to be truthful, it becomes easier and easier, and those other values start coming into alignment with you. And like, one of the things about me is that I had lost my integrity a while back. That's how come, and then it became really apparent to me that I had to build on these values so that I could live a good life and not treat other people this way too. Because I don't want to. They are beautiful people. There are brothers and our sisters out there, and some of them are artists, they're beaters, they're all different kinds of things, and they're just like you and me, want to look their best, want to feel their best, want a place to lay their head, want a place to wash their face, want a place to use the bathroom, want some love, want some attention, and so that's how come I came up with that, because I wanted really people to start to look at values as a way to look at the people instead of through the behaviors that are exhibited during drug use, during erratic drug use especially, because then they have to start having a hustle, start having a way to pay for this. And so, like, those behaviors start becoming more apparent, but people look at the behavior as that's who the person is, and it's so not.
Oh, yeah. I just want to let our viewers know, if y'all have any questions, you can still type in the comments and we will get them answered as soon as possible. I'm glad you are all here. Mo has been giving us a lot of knowledge, and I've never heard of harm reduction. And has harm reduction, is it just in your area, or has it expanded?
Well, I think that as I was invited to National Indian Health Board tribal summit last year, or opioid summit last year, and so I went and I spoke about this. But like, as I was researching various areas, we all have very similar values within all of our tribes, no matter what tribe we come from. And so I really feel like that harm reduction is traditional, belongs to all our tribes, because we're all tied to the land, we're all tied to the water, we're all tied to the seasons, we're all tied, like our celebrations and our ceremonies and even our words that are spoken from our languages. Mine is Nehiyaw. I don't speak much language, but within our languages, it shows us how to be stewards to other people, to the land, to the water. How to take care of all of that. And our words have meaning to them that people don't even understand. Like in my language, a ski is like earth, and we call Mother Earth that. You know what I mean? And so like already it's like animate. It has stuff, and I don't know, it has life in it, and our words have life. And so like I don't I call our relatives out there, you know, and it's less demeaning, you know, brother, sister, cousin, you know, and it's real. And then you get to know each other's names. Hey, I'm Mo. I work over at NAC now. And like even with my former job, people wish I was back there because I never stayed in the rules and regulations box. I was kind of always outside of it, and that's because I learned from other people that you know if you use certain drugs, you need more times to use it, and so I don't want anybody to have to reuse a syringe because we only give it 20 out to begin with. So I'd give them 60, 80, 100. And it got me in trouble, but I'd rather be in trouble with my boss than to have them out there end up in the hospital for other things,
Yeah.
you know? Um,
I feel like I love that you care for all, not just the users, just like the homeless and stuff. I feel like that's very important, especially on our reservations and just even everyday public. Like I feel like everybody forgets about the homeless a lot of the times because it don't affect them. So yeah, thank you for doing that. My grandfather would take care of our relatives back home, and I didn't know that until he passed away. And then they let me know that once someone would pass away, that would be the only time that the homeless got to eat. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So my grandpa, before he passed, he's like, make sure you take care of them in every kind of way. So I'm glad to hear that you are taking on that responsibility of taking care of everyone, no matter what walk of life they are doing. Um, what is a main takeaway about this work that is important for the greater public to know?
that when we give them a clean syringe, it's not enabling them. When we um, give them the naloxone for opioid use, that we're not enabling them to go out and use more, we're enabling them to live. So if you've never been trained on naloxone, but you've been around people who have overdosed and you've seen it happen, maybe you should get some training for that, because our relatives' lives matter, just as much as my life matters, just as much as your life matters. We all matter. I matter to my sisters and my brother and a lot of people here in Minneapolis, and you matter to your circle of friends and those people that really love and support you. Um, and even the ones that don't support you, I'm pretty sure that they still love you in a way that they can't say to you because maybe they're angry about something. Maybe they're angry that you stole their last $20 when you came over, but you're a person who uses, and so you stole that because you knew that they'd be mad at you, but they still love you,
Yeah.
because you're going to go and make sure that you're not sick. Um, like my mom, when she was in the hospital, she passed away a couple years ago, but she had someone visit her who stole her phone, and then they were all mad at her, and I'm like, don't be mad. I said, it's not her. She loves mom, and my mom loves her. I said, but she has a monkey on her back that control, and that's what's driving her. It isn't anything else but that.
Yeah.
And to remember that's not her. That's that drug that has control right now, you know. And it's not about the people there, that is, because even like where I work at, a lot of the people started their use because they broken something, and they were given opioids, and they were taken off of them before the pain went away, so they started getting some from the street, thinking they were, just regular pills, but then they end up having fentanyl in it, and they got addicted, and they couldn't come off of it, just stuff like that. And so like it comes in all very shapes, forms. It could be they're friends with someone whose brother's a drug dealer, and they got some of it, so they tried it, not knowing how addictive it is, how much it'll change your life to where that's all you want. And our people are valuable, and so like I try to talk with young folks too, like don't ever try that. If you're gonna do stuff, smoke some weed, drink some beer, but even like not every weekend either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because um our 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 young people are still impressionable, where you could say the truth to them. I believe, because when I was 18 years old, I had a relative that I had only known for about a month, and she knocked on the door, said, "Can I come in and use in there?" And I said, "Yeah, but only if you let me watch." So she let me watch, and then she asked me, "Do you have an addictive personality?" And I said, "Yeah, I think so." And she said, "Then don't ever try this." And I never did. I never did, because I understood that she was giving me important information, and I knew how she lived because I had been there when to bring them to the grocery store so they could go steal a bunch of, could resell it for half price. Um, so like I know that she really saved me from that agony.
Yeah. Is there any other work that you do in the community?
Any other work that I do in community? I'm on the board of Southside Harm Reduction Services, which is a local harm reduction um, thing that started in 2018 by volunteers. I was one of those volunteers. There's many more volunteers. Um, there's more of a paid staff now, but there's still a lot of volunteers, like volunteer drivers that deliver throughout the city, north side, south side, um, and just in our Minneapolis. And I also, what else do I do? um, I just generally, I want to be a volunteer again at Southside, but I just have some stuff that came up, and it has to do with probably what I'll share later about what I do for fun.
Okay.
Anyways, so I'm supposed to go through a training, so I could get back into that part of it. But I love Southside, because out of all the agencies, I've seen them do the most for the unsheltered. I've seen them do the most for, people who use drugs, plain and simple.
Yeah.
And I love them for it. I love them for it. Um, oh yeah, I'm also part of the National Native HIV Network.
Mhm.
And so March 20th is National Native HIV Awareness Day. So if you haven't been tested in a while, go get tested on that day. And it's there's people from, Hawaii, uh, Arizona, Alaska, California, um, Seattle. I'm sure there's someone that on the East Coast, but I'm not sure their names. Anyways, but like there's pockets of us here and there, um, and so that's what I do. I was part of the so we indigenized the ending HIV strategy that that the states had come up with, but we decided it didn't work for our community, so we indigenized it with Indian Portland Indian Health Board. Jessica Lester was kind of one of the leads on it. Cardia helped us with that, and there was a bunch of us from across the nation that we came together, had a bunch of meetings, and really talked about how we use culture for ourselves, like because white people, they're like, you do this, this, and this, and none of it resonates with any of us
Yeah.
because it's not what heals us, and so that's one of the things that I've done. Um, so yeah, I've been involved in a few different things. Harm reduction is my favorite though,
Yeah.
because it just meets people where they're at and loves people, and that's all I want to do.
Is there a big two-spirit community there where you're at?
Yes, there is. In fact, last year we had a two-spirit powwow
Hmm.
at South High grounds, and this year we're going to have it as well, but we're going to have it during Pride, so people can, still enjoy Pride, but they can also come over there if they want to see a powwow.
Yeah.
It's going to be on a different site. It had been brought to my attention that maybe we could have it close by to where Pride is. And then I shot the person to Jace Rowe, Auntie Jace is as they're known as. And she just said no. I want we don't want too many looky-loos. And I realized too that at the Pride that a lot of people, will be inebriated, and
Yeah.
so it's best to just keep it there. So, but they're National Native Theater along with um, Augsburg College, I do believe, and NAC Community Clinic has been putting together, you know, a place for two spirits to make regalia.
Hmm.
Moccasins, and like if they want to wear a jingle dress, fancy shawl, um, traditional or grass dance, like they have the opportunity to do that there. And then on the 24th of June, we're going to have a powwow on that day. And I'm so excited because I was a part of it last year. And then I ran off because I had an appointment. When I came back and they were taking all the stuff out, but I was there. It was very hot.
Well, be sure to tell him I said hello, Jace Rowe, because when I was Miss International Two Spirit and I went to San Fran for Bates, I got him to come two-step with me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He just sat way back in the bleachers. I was like, come on, because I'm tall. So I was like, I want this tall one to come dance with me. So
Uh,
I'm so
yeah,
glad you
Jason's
know
fantastic
him.
colleague.
Um, well, I would hope like to see, because I mean, the Two Spirit Societies, I think we're lacking in that kind of work, and I would love to connect you to some leaders around here they'd need to hear this, because I feel like we do push that off to the side. I mean, we don't really try to talk about it, and I feel like we push those people away and deter them from being a part of the societies. And I would love for you to like come and be like, hey, these are people too, and they need our love, and they need our support, and they need our connections. So I think that would be something to really bring aware and light to our two spirit communities, because it's lacking. So
Yeah, and there's a lot of two spirits that use,
oh,
there
yeah.
is,
And like,
you know.
I feel like they have tried to hide it for so long, and then once it does get out, they are made to feel ashamed and pushed away. And I feel like they need to be connected, and maybe that might just help them to stop. It might just, I don't know.
Or
I
help
feel
them
like it needs to
or
be.
help them to help self-love enough to know that what people's stigma towards them in their use is not theirs,
Yes.
because I recognize that my use, like, it could be stigmatized, but it doesn't stop me because I understand my own self now.
Yeah.
But I went through lots of therapy.
Oh. um, do you have any advice for the folks for how you can get involved in any of the work mentioned, such as harm reduction?
Oh yeah. So like the way I got involved with Southside, it was just that I learned that there was a harm reduction, Southside harm reduction services. So then I went and found them, And I said, hey, I'm here to help. And they said, okay, you can do this, you know, and that's how it starts, you know, like, so if there's any harm reduction services or even HIV services in your neck of woods, see if you can volunteer, see if you can learn more, see if they have syringe services, see if anybody's you know, involved in harm reduction, because sometimes it's underground in different states. And so, like, if they're a HIV provider, maybe they know someone who's underground that to get syringes from because they can't give them out there. You
Yeah.
know, because it depends on each place. Like we're pretty progressive in Minnesota where we have that. And today, actually, I do have news that we have a bill that we're trying to get signed, and it went through the first reading and it was like accepted. Now it's got to be debated about having decriminalizing you know, like residue in a needle or whatever, because they've been giving people felonies for that little bit of residue.
Yeah.
And that, you know, for people who are already underdogs, are in this society that housing, you have to have a credit score. You know, you can't have drug felonies like in a lot of the places. So it really pushes the unsheltered into another box of like undesired outcomes, you know. So it's really hard to help them to get into places when they have all of these barriers. And so, like, I'm really happy for the people that put together the work to get this read in the Capitol, and that it's going forward. And hopefully one day, people will not be uh, charged with something just because they got some residue or a little bit of drug in on them. That you know, they're not the big dogs. They're not the ones that should be prosecuted. It's the ones that are bringing, like, I don't know, 2,000 pressed pills that have fentanyl to our communities, you know, and not people who are at the bottom, just, you know, got a little bag and they don't go and like everybody puts their money into it so they get their little piece of it, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's
Um,
it.
well, now we'll go, we can breathe a little bit. We'll talk a little bit. So you said you had a little something to talk about what you like to do for fun and your new training. So let's hear it,
What
though.
I like to do for
What do you
fun?
like
Well,
to do for fun?
my favorite is watching burlesque, watching kink. So we have a show here every first Friday of the month called Kinky Friday. No phones allowed in the whole space, because uh, people get naked.
Yeah.
People, you know, they're doing things that we just don't want everybody to see. So it's like a no phones place. But I really enjoy that. I met a couple people there who I really enjoyed the show. And then so for my birthday last year, one of my buddies got me some personal time with this one femdom. And so my femdom, since my birthday last May, I've seen her maybe 4 or 5 times. And I have another femdom that I met there, uh, and I've seen her about 4 times as well. And so that's my new fun, as it were. And I have an appointment tomorrow actually with one of them, so I'm really excited about it.
Hey.
Because yeah, it's something that people think is like wrong, or I don't find pleasure shameful.
Yeah.
Like even drug use pleasure is not shameful. What's shameful is stigma for what people like to enjoy, you know? And so, like, for me, I talk about it when I give an opportunity, you know. I'm submissive in these roles, um, and I like it. And then I always like it makes me think about, no wonder I always like the bossy ladies in my life growing up all the way through, even who I date. It's the bossy ones I get more.
She likes the bossy aunties. um, What is your favorite native dish to make or to enjoy?
Um, I like tater tot hot dish with wild rice as the base.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I have not had that yet.
Oh yeah, it's
I think
pretty
the
good.
I think the last time when I came up there, I had wild rice for the first time and some moose, and they told me it was regular meat, but I guess it's regular meat for them. But when I tried it, I was all like, uh. I was like, hold on. I usually don't try to like add salt or anything to anybody's food. I feel like it's a little insulting. So, but I was like, sorry. I was like,
Yep,
I was like,
salt is it. Salt. I like salt too. But actually another one I really like from back home is just bannock and lard.
yeah. Oh
You know,
yes,
you
that's some
bake it
good
in the
bannock.
oven and then fresh out of the oven, and you just, you can use butter, bacon grease, but I like lard. That's what I grew up on, and it was like, yeah,
Some good old bannock.
yeah.
Um, what is in the dreamscape that you hope to manifest personally or professionally?
Professionally, per- personally, well, personally for one, um, I'd like to still be doing what I'm doing, and and like um, I guess being able to do my work anywhere, um, and nationally. I don't know. I spoke at a few events and stuff like that, and I really feel like that's been a good thing. But at the same time, I'm like, I want to be out there in the streets again. I've kidney disease, and so it has impeded that in the last couple of years. Because I have to be at the bathroom by a certain time, or else I'm like doing the dance. Anyways, but I also wish that, like for the landscape, that like that two spirits, trans individuals, can be free to be who they are without all of this hate and drama about us and how we live our lives. Because we still wake up, and the ones that want to put on makeup. The ones that want to, you know dress real good. The ones that just want to be comfortable, put on gym pants, put on shorts, whatever. And we still
Jump in
go
a
about the
burlesque
day
show.
to that's. I go to drag shows too. I go to mall.
Yeah.
I'm I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely one of those that likes to tip big. And part of the reason is that I know that anybody who does that work, sequins costs money, the bling costs money, and then when you only get like $20 tips, that's like, shoot. So I try to always be the hook.
Yeah.
I'll go throw $10, $20 in the air so that other people go, oh, I gotta throw more
Yeah.
than $1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We like those kind of tippers.
Well, that's the way it should be. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
y'all are putting on a show for us, for us. And I appreciate it every time I go, and like, oh my God, did you see that? And oh, and so I really. Oh, another thing too is like sex work is not shameful. I don't think it is.
Yeah.
That's a part of harm reduction too, is understanding that and like looking at them as persons who made that choice, and that's okay. We all have choices that we make, and some are like choices that harm other people, and maybe those are the choices that to have stigma. You know what I mean? But not these ones that where we're just helping ourselves and trying to get out from under the man, meaning government, meaning
Yeah.
all of those society that chooses to want to push us down because they think they make all the rules. Like, nah, I don't live by rules. I do to some degree. Like, I'm on probation right now till 2025. So, um,
Well, with that, what does decolonization look in your eyes? What
uh,
does that mean to you?
decolonization means to be using those traditional teachings that we have, our cultural teachings, our values, because when we start to use those values in our lives, then we don't have stigma, we don't have destruction, we don't have greed, we don't have those things that the white society, that the colonizer society used to bring down the whole world and make it like them. You know what I mean? Like there's greed out there in our own tribes, but that greed wasn't something that was allowed back in the day when we had a whole village, you know, because they would have councils, they would talk about it, they would say, hey, wait, this is going too left, we got to do something about it, you know.
Yeah.
And nowadays, with our tribes being so money driven and like have to have the infrastructure, all of that, like we don't get to have those same kind of places anymore. And I see it every year. Like I see it on, right now we're having elections at the end of this month on my res, and I see people talking about that election, and I've never been involved in an election in a long time because I haven't been home. But the other point is that like it's always the same, and I've never seen anybody make real active change, you know, to our res, no matter who it is, you know. So it's like it's there, and it's even in there even when someone I like is in office, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing, you know, because how can we could try colonize ourselves, like try colonize the little space we're in, but in reality, like the band offices need to be decolonized, you know. Uh, they need to decolonize the way that they, tr- you know, treat other people who have less quantum.
Yes.
You know, I I I understand that there's people out there that say, "Oh, I'm Native," but then they use that scant blood or whatever that they from way back when to get money being indigenous. You know, and you know that happens. Yeah, it happens. But at the same time, you know, you have some of these people who have a quarter from that tribe, 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 full-blooded, but they're only considered a quarter from all of them, so they can't enroll in any of them. And I think that's absurd. They want us to marry our
Yeah.
cousins, our uncles, our aunts. That is colonizer thinking. That is colonizer ways to keep us from, you know, to keep us intermarried. That's like uh not not the way that I was taught kinship when I was growing up.
Yeah.
My mom taught me, you know, and it was sure not messing with my relatives. So, yeah, Mo usually dates white women now.
Well, we are coming close to the end of our chat. Is there anywhere we can follow you on Instagram, Facebook, any handles, or any way we can uplift your work to donate or
Uh,
just
well,
read
if
more about what
you
you're
would
doing?
know me, Southside Harm Reduction Services is at uh, southsideharmreduction.org. Always looking for donations. There is Harm Reduction Sisters up in Duluth, who the person Sue purchased was one of my very first initial people that was involved in my learning of what harm reduction was. And so I so appreciate her, and she still does the work, and I appreciate that too. And they get less money than we do, and they have a bigger area to cover because they cover northern Minnesota. They try to anyways, and so like I'm really thankful for them because they really do the work.
Yeah.
Southside really does the work. You know, NAC does the work too, but I really feel like our agency is thriving. Um, and I found myself in a bunch of good harm reduction folks as well in my role there. And so I'm really like really love that. But yeah, like, and if you want to get involved with any harm reduction places, Harm Reduction Coalition is another place that you could probably check out. National Native HIV Network. There's a lot of people from different areas that are on there that you could look up. Um, yeah, because we're all over the map there. Um,
Good. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your night to come speak with us. I loved our conversation. I really hope that you do more work for our people, and I hope to run into you sometime. I would really like to sit down with you, and hopefully Jace too, and really brainstorm some good stuff for our people. But I really want to thank you for being here with us tonight.
all right, thank you very much.
All right. Well,
Woohoo.
we will catch you later. Everyone, thank you for tuning in for another Skoden Talks with the Homies. Stay tuned. We will have another one soon. Also, I wanted to let everyone know one of our old guests, Juan with Burn the Wagon, we will be having another interview. He'll be interviewing me on March 14th at noon. So if y'all want to check that out, be sure to follow Burn the Wagon on Instagram or Facebook. Check that out. And I also want to let everyone know too, since we were talking about drag, the Smithsonian for Gay Pride is going to be hosting an all-native drag show for Gay Pride in June.
Woo!
So as soon as I get the dates for that, I will let everyone know. But thank you for tuning in. I am your host, Auntie Sage with Skoden Talks with the Homies, and we will see y'all next time. Have a good night.
Oh, good night.